Okay, there we go. Hello everybody, my name is Regular Gamer Alex, so welcome to something a bit different. A reaction video to some devlogs of the game called Eeriest Night. So this is interesting, because I was actually sent an email from the developer of this game, basically letting me know that this game exists, or this game was being made. And the game looks very interesting. He did mention in the email about streaming my reaction to it. Sadly enough, you guys already know my scenario I have with Twitch, which is that I have a lot of connection issues with Twitch's servers, which is not letting me allow. I can't speak. Not letting me be able to actually stream on Twitch. But that's why I always have YouTube. So this is going to be very interesting, because the game looks very interesting. And you guys know I'm a sucker for horror games. I'm wearing an It t-shirt. I love horror. Always have, always will. And when this game comes out both as a demo and full game, I probably will be making videos on those as well. So without further ado, let's see this devlog.
What will happen if you enter an abandoned building where mannequins track your movements and try to catch you when you don't look at them? This is the idea behind the game and developing Eeriest Night. Welcome to the first devlog.
Okay.
I want to create something simple with replayability, something fun to watch in streaming or YouTube videos, something that challenges you to do it yourself with no help, or maybe in the afternoon with your friends, and something that even it's not perfect, it's different somehow.
Okay, that's a great way to think of indie horror games.
Inspiration from the early Alone in the Dark ideas and some heart attacks from Nightmare House too. Well, the first reference is about lore, which required a bit more development. The other reference tried to make random heart attacks events that scare the player without focusing on jump scares. All it's about environment.
Warning, jump scare. Even the original Half-Life 2, those guys were just always so terrifying. The fast zombies.
No quiero seguir avanzando en este juego, culiao, no quiero. Por favor.
Oh god, that was like me back when I played, what was that one? It was kind of like, god, what was it? It was this one game that was originally a Half-Life 2 mod, but it became its own full game. It was a horror game. I played it a while back during the beginning parts of my channel, almost 2 years ago. Cry of Fear, that's what it was. Yeah, that game made me scream. Oh.
Por favor.
The game takes place in a stormy night, so I would like to express that feeling just with sound. That's why the music is not a big part of the game, at least for now. I don't know if you ever were in an abandoned house, but I swear even the most little crack can make you feel fear and insecure. But that's something we will discuss later.
I've never actually been in an abandoned house before, mostly because I live in a small town in Georgia, a rural small town, so there really isn't any abandoned houses. But I do hear stories of other abandoned houses more towards Savannah. After I just hear Savannah is just a place basically never go to because it's haunted.
Develop more things as the game. For now, let's focus on the core, where everything begins on this journey that I hope that you enjoy and follow until the end.
Also, I'd never go into an abandoned house without a friend, just for one purpose. If a monster or ghost tries to come for me, I will gladly sacrifice my friend so I can live. As rude or mean as that sounds. When a horror scenario gets insane, friendship is out the window. I've done the same thing when I played multiplayer horror games with some of my friends. I will literally just abandon them and me just run away. Mobility.
In the first steps, I want to develop the mobility and the functionality of the player. Initially, there are characters and lore behind who the player is possessing, though in this video I want to speak about what I developed. The base character has a simple functionality. It can walk and sprint, but not jump. The cool feature about sprinting is that there's no measure bar around the screen. There will be almost no UI. I want to create something really immersive, so the fun part is that you will experience by yourself when you are tired because you are panting or your speed is getting slower over time. How does
This is how horror is. Because if you played any horror game with like chasing scenes, when you get done with it, both your character and yourself are just like out of breath, tired. Because you can feel your own character when it's like sprinting out of energy and such. Okay, sorry about that. I had to pause for a sec because there's someone at my door.
this work? The player press Shift and W, A, S or D to sprint to a location. Sprint has a duration that will vary depending on the difficulty. If you release the Shift button before you run out of stamina, you will recover it in a normal pace. However,
Okay.
if you consume all, you will have a punishment time, where it will take longer to recover, but only will recover stamina if you release the Shift button. So when people are in a panic, they will be punished. So I hope you have Nerve of Steel.
I do not have nerves of steel, not even close.
The flashlight has some cool features. The first one is a delay input, so when you turn, it takes some time to actually get there. The second part is the flickering effect. The flashlight has a battery time. When the battery life reaches a certain point, the flashlight will start flickering on random times, with more or less frequency randomly. So you're right, it will flicker when more you need it. Also, when the battery goes down, it will like less. Obviously, if the battery reaches 0, you will have no light. Now, the frequency where everything happens, battery flickering threshold, maximum and minimum of flickers, battery lifetime, will depend on the difficulty you're playing on.
Okay.
The main enemy of this game is the mannequins. By now, I've just developed the core functionality of this enemy. Mannequins have by now 4 states. The first one is Wander state. If the mannequin is not being observed by a certain time, he will wander to a random place in random times, and every time he stops moving, he will take a random pose. So maybe you saw one there and when you come back, it's no longer there. The second state is Chase target. If the mannequin sees a player, it will try to catch him and move toward him. However, this connects to the third state. If the player by any means see the mannequin, it will stop moving immediately. That means it will freeze the position only if the mannequin is aware of that. As soon as the player stops looking at him, he will continue with his chase. A fun part is that maybe due to the player movement, the mannequin might lose the sight of the player, so he will pass to the fourth state, looking for, where it will trace the player up to a certain point. Again, the severity of these behaviors will vary with the difficulty, including the movement speed. There's a fifth state where the mannequin strangles the player, but I haven't done it yet. With this behavior, I want to turn things around. Usually, the players see the enemy face to face, and when it happens, it's a jump scare or similar. But in this game, I want to feel the player insecure when a mannequin is close. I need to keep moving, but he's chasing me. I need to grab that key, but then I have to turn my back. Is it close? How long do I have until he grabs me? And constantly moving back and forth with that feeling of, you know it's there, you know it's chasing you, but you only can continue turning your back. And if you wonder, the flashlight doesn't affect them, so you might be chased in the dark. Cool, right?
Ooh, okay. That's interesting. That was definitely something I want to know because mannequins have had different kind of movements throughout both video games and movies and shows. The most common one, which is the one this one's using, is the Weeping Angel style, which is basically the one where it will slowly chase after you, but only if you're not looking at it. The other movement I've seen mannequins do over the years have been a clanky movement, I guess you'd call it, where they're moving towards you, even if you're looking at them, but they like kind of clank, like move weirdly. Like the mannequin from Silent Hill. There's also the stiff movement, which is where they just walk towards you, but kind of in a stiff motion, like the mannequins from Doctor Who, or well, Mannequin Aliens. If you ever seen the first episode of reboot of Doctor Who. So yeah, these ones appear to have the Weeping Angel kind of style. Interesting. That's really awesome. because those ones are always terrifying. Because you're always under pressure and stress not to turn around at the wrong moment unless you want to get, like you said, strangled by the mannequin. The building.
One of the parts that worries me in the game is the environment, the places, not the feds, but the places. So to make it as simple as possible with the best result possible, I want to use the Megascans library that is now tied to Unreal Engine, the engine where I'm developing it. Here you have some footage, but it's still in an early process. Well, in the next version I will focus on the first apartment. I want to design something with the Megascans library and maybe some free assets that works. Initially, as I told in my Discord community that you can join right now, link in the description, I am focused to release a little demo that brings more interested people to the project and give me some feedback about it. I keep thinking about how that demo might be because the project has several parts. I'm thinking about a single apartment with a few mannequins and everything scripted. The randomization will come in the release version. Aside from that, we created a little feedback form and honestly that was quite impressive. Thanks everyone, I see you in the next devlog.
Okay, well that's the finish of the first devlog. I'm already added to their Discord, so I keep up to date with stuff. But now we finished the first one. That was really interesting, and it really does look really cool, amazing. Especially since it's been quite a while since I've seen an indie mannequin horror game. They were back in like the early 2010s, I believe. Yeah, the early days like Markiplier. But it would be very fun to play this one. This one already looks amazing. But now let's move on to the second devlog. Okay, here's the second devlog. There's only 3 devlogs in total, so let's check these out.
Welcome to the day of visuals, references, meshes, textures, vertex painting, decal, and props. That is what we are going to talk about today. Welcome to the second devlog. With the basic of the previous week, I headed toward building the first apartment, the apartment that will cover the demo. So I opened Blender and realized that I didn't remember the shortcuts and other basics, so I had to make a step back and create my second donut. With that knowledge back, I headed toward building the apartment in Blender. However, again, before even pulling a cube, I sketched some ideas about how that might be, and surprisingly my errors in measurements bring something really interesting for the shape. That look like doodles, it's actually quite useful for me, because I had to imagine everything from the beginning and spot events around places I thought it would be interesting and surprising. Not everything is out now, something will come later. But I also have thought about the official release and how that randomization will be. Let's get to the point.
The apartment.
The first was to create the simplest shape of the apartment and test that everything fitted in this theme. I had to check collisions that, by the way, I had to create custom collisions because Unreal didn't get that precise at first. With that, I tested that mannequins could go through doors and every single other place of the house. Also, I checked that light didn't come through walls and other something weird stuffs. With that in place, I decided to fix the issue about textures. One of the main reasons I found was that every wall and floor in the apartment has different dimensions, what caused that textures get stretched and doesn't fit correctly. So, to solve this, I learned a bit about textile density and applied what I learned. As you can see here, every wall, floors and ceiling in the house has the same textile density, that little squares, which cause that everything looks more organic.
Okay. The windows.
Before going any further, I had to make the windows so that I could make the holes in the walls and check everything around before even thinking of texturing. So I grabbed some references about the kind of window I was looking for and I created the simplest shape for it. I had some comments about how to improve that, but I'm going to keep those details for the final release rather than the demo. It gives the feeling, if I pay attention to details so much, the demo will be released in many months or even years. Perfection is good, but also perfection kills you, so let's bring a balance. The
Winston
point right
Churchill.
now is to bring a demo that creates sensations and scares, and that's what I'm aiming for. With that in place, I create the texture in Mixer, but unfortunately my computer kinda dies when I use it, so I pick a pre-done texture that works and bring the sensation I'm looking for. Later, my idea is to randomly create all those aspects, randomly select the textures, the distributions, the keys, and other aspects that brings different final results within a range. I'll talk about later when the demo releases. And I'll explain what the final game should look like. As I said in the previous devlog, in the demo everything will be scripted. One thing I had to spend a lot of time on learning was on creating the raining texture. I had to review it later when the night environment with thunderstorm comes around so that it brings the shadows that I want, but by now it's looked quite good.
Yeah, that does look good. Vertex
When the
painting.
time to fill the apartment came, I had to build the reverse process. What was there before and how did it fall apart? That's where vertex painting comes really handy. With that technique you can make several layers and paint on top of each other, so that at first you have pure concrete wall, later the wall decoration that will be randomly selected, and on top of that custom aspects like this burnt wall texture. I tried to mix my story, what happened in this apartment. For
Makes sense because it is a
the
abandoned
floor
apartment.
has its original floor and on top of that dust or soil and later rubble. I'm trying to not explain much about it because I don't want to make spoilers.
Makes sense. It is an abandoned house, so it's going to be
Well,
very
once
decayed and
everything was
dilapidated.
up, I fill more the gaps and bring things more alive with some leakage decals, rubble, bloody events, which again later will be randomized with a logical purpose, some clues about the final enemy not present in the demo, and other stuff I cannot spoil you about. Again, here I put a limit in details. I can improve this way more, but I try to find a balance between time results and feelings. I think in general it's good, and with poor lighting, way better. Here you have a short daily footage.
Ooh. Yeah, because this is an abandoned house, so it's going to look like it's been through a war zone. It's rotten, it's dilapidated. There's mold and rot basically everywhere. That gives it a good creepy feel to it. Especially when there's a blood trail. Oh, that's not in yet.
People are coming to the Discord server and well, it's quite good. They give me feedback and even some ideas directly or indirectly. And even if it's not done at first for the demo, everything gets noted in my plan. Sooner or later, if everything goes okay, I'll bring those aspects. To come in new ideas, I use the action triangle that Henrik Nyberg, coach at Mojang, you know, Minecraft, showed in his talk. Initially you start alone, but as soon as people, the target audience speaks, you have to listen, otherwise you have higher chances to be out, and not only that. Maybe what is important for me, it's not important for you, so in this triangle, if 3 points are joined, it must be done. But if only one is present, maybe those ideas with 2 points should have priority.
Makes sense.
When the demo is published, I'm going to watch all the videos and streamings online to study the reactions and their gameplay's ideas, even how they try to break the game, how fast or slow they go. But by now, that side data is closed to the people I show the project at home. But if you want to follow this project closer, join our Discord community. I bring new photos or comments almost every day. Link in the description. In the next version, things will get even more interesting, because after the next one, it will come the demo release. So, in the next version, I'll bring the night environment, the storm lighting effects, sound in general for mannequins, the player, lights, and the death animation and the mannequin attack system that was missing. Now, mannequins will be a real problem, and I stress that when a mannequin strangles you, The music and the release system will make you panic. I see you in the next devlog.
Okay, interesting, very interesting. So next devlog is going to be focusing on sounds and stuff and death animation. Makes sense because, well, music and sound, they can be a very big part of horror. They give ambiance of creepiness, of dread, of feeling. That could be the difference between just going to abandoned house or going to abandoned house that's all creaky. You hear droplet sounds come from the ceiling and stuff. Sound design and music is very important for horror. So I'm curious to know what did that. So let's move on to the next devlog, and this is the last one. Okay, so here's the third and final devlog. At least till the demo gets released, apparently. I can't wait for that demo. That's not something you want to see, especially the flickering lights. Oh, my friend, I need to take you back to JCPenney's. Ooh, okay. Ah, and yep, they crack your neck.
These weeks, I have been totally focused in the setting, trying to pull the player within the game, trying to make everything immersive and uncomfortable. First, I created the storm system, a fully randomized system that plays around with lighting and thunder sounds. This system uses global illumination variations to recreate the storm lightning effects. Moreover, on each lightning release, there's a chance to create a thunder sound. To make such sounds, I collected many storm sounds and raining sounds and extracted from them the exact thunder sound. This process was repeated many times for other sounds. Later, I constructed another randomized background layer of sound that bring a distant wind sound, filling the depth of the environment. The last detail was to construct another randomized layer of raining sounds hitting the windows, which leads to the next topic, reverbs. Thanks to reverbs, it is possible to mimic the sound reacting to the different environments. Each room, hall, bathroom, and corridor has its own reverb volume to bring the player closer to the game.
Makes sense. Kinda like how when you sing in the bathroom it sounds better and more acoustic compared to just singing in your regular room. Unless you got like acoustic
sound,
panels.
Running sounds, panting sounds, and panic breathing sounds that play after releasing from a mannequin strangulation. The flashlight has its own turn on and off sound and flicker sounds. Mannequins will produce a special bending sound when moved, though they will make it at random times, so the sound will disturb the player but not help him much. Once a mannequin gets close to the player and it's not being observed, it will trigger the strangulation event, moment in which several things will happen. The camera will shake violently, it will play an impact sound, and it will play a randomized music within a set of rules. This disturbing music is constructed using a cluster. In music, a cluster is a group of notes that plays close together.
Ooh.
As always, depending the note you choose, you will get a different result. In my case, this is the cluster that I choose. I've tried others, but definitely this one really fits into the mood. Next, I built a string and metal arrange, pulling the instrument, in most cases, to the edge to create this tight feeling. Last but not least, during 15 seconds, some will glitch up and another down, giving this aerial effect of slowly moving. Later, back into Unreal, I built a meta sound that chooses randomly different sections on play, so that every time it sounds slightly different. During
Okay.
this time, the player has to press a random amount of times the spacebar to release from the mannequin. Not knowing how many times, definitely it's going to bring unique reactions. Nonetheless, if the player doesn't get it, it will die and it will trigger the last sound that you have to find out. Oh, just a minor detail, every time a mannequin grabs you, you will throw your flashlight. Have fun in the darkness. As many of you know, the next version will be the demo release. However, I'll publish an early access version of the demo for those who joins the server as beta testers, link in the description. Later, the demo will be available in each IO. The game it's also uploaded to the Twitch database, so please, if you stream it, don't forget to select it. What will happen from now to the demo release within the game, it's a secret. You will enjoy or panic finding out. Along with the demo, I will upload a last devlog explaining how the final game should look like and the requirements I need in order to complete it. Thank you all. I see you running from mannequins.
Okay, well that was the last devlog, so what do I think of the game? It looks actually really cool. It looks really awesome. And it also has a bit of a nostalgic feel for it. Because it's been a while since I played a mannequin horror game quite like this one before. Because back in the early 2010s, there were quite a few mannequin-based horror games back then. What was that one that was on the Xbox? Condemned Criminal Origins, I think it was? And of course, Silent Hill and such. But for the last, like, maybe a couple years, we haven't really seen that much of mannequins and horror that much. In fact, we've seen a lot of just random other stuff. I mean, just recently I played a Winnie the Pooh horror game, which was weird, but not bad. So it's definitely a very big nostalgic feel for this. And it looks really awesome. Sound design looks awesome. The mannequins, I could tell, are going to give me a heart attack. Or at the very least, a panic attack. Sorry. I am a bit tired. Mostly because of allergies and meds. But yeah, this game looks really fun, and when the demo comes out, I will be making a video on that, of course, like I do most video game demos, and of course, when the full game does come out, I'll definitely be making a video on that. So, that is it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And go check out this game, their development log, as well as their Discord. Because I could tell this is going to be fun when it comes out. Both demo and the full game. Until then, I'll see you guys next video. Stay awesome.